Hey, what's going on? It's your man, Tim Jackson, Mr. Purpose on the Man. I'm here with the No More OGs podcast, and I'm so excited today to interview the individual who's sitting next to me. You know, it's my job and my goal, it's my duty to put people in front of you who are actually out in the community doing the shit they saying they're doing, but also creating change and also providing a blueprint for how you can do that too. You see, a lot of people talk that shit. Oh, I shouldn't be cussing within the first minute, but so I'll bleep that out and have a long intro. Now I'm fucking with y'all. A lot of people talk that shit, but then when it's time to show up and actually see what they're doing, it's crickets. And the people that I bring on this platform are people that you can actually show up and see what they're doing. So I've known this brother for about 5 or 6 years now. He and I published our books around the same time. That's when we met each other. But just sitting back, watching what he's doing, sitting back, looking at the projects that he's involved in. It's important to put this gentleman in front of you all so that you can see that there's more to life and there's more to business and there's more to real estate for that matter than what's presented to us on the surface. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others my guy, Mr. Scottie Smith. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, my man?
Hey, man, I can't complain, man. I was traveling over the weekend. I took all my podcast and equipment with me. So shit, I forgot my stand at the house, man. But I didn't want to be late to this interview, so I brought it. But say, you know, man, tell the people who you are. A lot of people don't know who you are. A lot of people know who you are, but outside of, you know, Dallas and people who may not be familiar with, you know, the shit that you're doing in the city and just locally and everywhere, like introduce to the audience who you are.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate you, man, for giving me the opportunity to talk to, you know, your audience and pretty much everybody, because I am kind of that behind the scenes guy and I like to just kind of do the work and let the work speak for itself. So my name is Scottie Smith. I'm a real estate broker, real estate developer. Like Tim said, I've known him for about 5 or 6 years. And, you know, ultimately what my charge is in this world is to help people using real estate as a vehicle to do so. And so what I've committed to over the past 6, 7, or 8 years, I want to say, time is just ticking, it's crazy, is redeveloping South Dallas, which is a black neighborhood that, you know, much like many of the neighborhoods in America have been disinvested and have been forgotten. And, you know, now people are trying to scoop up those properties and quote unquote gentrify it. And so that's my charge, man. I'm in the neighborhood, I'm in the community, making certain that the redevelopment that happens includes us.
Let's talk about that because, you know, I'm on the record of saying that I don't believe in gentrification.
Yeah. And
a lot of people get pissed off when I say that, but I do believe in redevelopment. And Scottie said something. You said something important. And it's one of the reasons why I fuck with you. Like, you know, I don't really like doing the in front shit. I like to be behind the scenes because you and I know here in Dallas, the people that's in front of the camera tend to be the people that don't have, as our parents would say, a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out when it comes to when it comes to being invested, right? Yeah. And so, you know, I remember when the land bank was really hot, and you know there was a lot of movement in South Dallas about 5, 6 years ago where you could literally buy properties for $10,000.
Yeah, shoot, less than that,
$5,000. We bought a property not even a mile away from Fair Park for like 20 grand. Didn't do anything on that property for over it was 2 years. That house sat almost 3 years, and it tripled in value. And then once we renovated it, it multiplied 6 times in value, right? And you said something, man, that I want to kind of park on. People wasn't really fucking with South Dallas like that prior to you getting into South Dallas. You didn't say that per se, but I'll say it. Prior to people like yourself saying, hey, this is a gold mine. And a lot of people in the South didn't see the gold mine because they had the mentality of, well, shit, I don't want to live over here. And I always tell people it's not about you living over there. It's about you owning the community, because what happens is when the redevelopment begins, I said when, not if it begins, you're not going to be able to afford it if you give away your property. Why are you so passionate about getting people in that area to own their communities, but also to be a part of that redevelopment?
So here's the reality, man. I agree with you. I don't believe in gentrification. I do believe that most neighborhoods have about a 60-year life cycle. They go up, they go down. We got to catch it when we catch it. But in black neighborhoods across the country, it happens to our neighborhoods so quickly and so swiftly, and we never are a part of it. And so being from Houston, I saw it. Third Ward, you know, it's like I blinked, went to college, came back, all that stuff was.
McGregor ain't the same street no more, is it?
No, it's not. McGregor, Alameda, all those. Third Ward is different. You know, they trying to call it something new. And when they start trying to rebrand the area with a whole new name, you know that, you know, the other folks are coming into our neighborhood, right?
Man, I always laugh when people talk about Pleasant Grove. The boundary of Pleasant Grove is the most argued thing here in Dallas because the people that don't want nothing to do with Pleasant Grove and that's done changed up the neighborhood names will let you know that ain't Pleasant Grove. That's this, that's that. But people don't get that,
Let
man.
me talk about is East Dallas.
This is far East Dallas.
Like
Lower East Dallas.
Like, all right, man.
Okay.
We know what it is. We know where the boundaries are. It's clear and distinct. You know?
But let's talk about that because you said the life cycle of a community is 60 years. And we're real estate guys. We both have a broker's license. Here in Dallas, there's not a lot of black real estate male brokers, especially under 40. I think it was me, you, Rashad.
Yep.
We were like the only three for a while.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we made that shit look cool. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, if you know somebody's got in real estate between 2005 and 2020, I probably put them in, or somebody I know put them in. Right?
Exactly.
So let's get back to that, man. You're redeveloping, and you're not just redeveloping in South Dallas, but you're also redeveloping outside of Dallas. I was a zoning commissioner. I saw it from that perspective. Of gentrification doesn't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't. No, not even. It's it literally by the time we hear about it in the news, it's already too late.
It's done, but it's how long would you say it takes by the time we get in the news?
A solid 5 to 10. Like I've seen projects that specifically like Fair Park. I've seen projects that passed some type of bond, something or another 10 years ago that's just now getting started, and it's like, oh snap. I should have did this. I should have did that. And I'm like, yeah. 7 years ago, I was telling you, you should do this. You should do that.
Wait. Say it again.
7 years ago, I was telling people you should do this and you should do it. But sometimes we get so short-sighted and we want everything instantaneous. Like we got to be in this whole thing for the long run because the other people are. They're coming in. I met a guy who, over the course of that same time period where I was telling all of our friends, all of our people, a white guy, he was saying, oh, what do you see? Oh, okay, let me go look. And this dude between that time and now has purchased over 250 lots in South Dallas, not anywhere else, just in and around South Dallas. So I would even say that he is the largest landowner in South Dallas outside of the city of Dallas. And it's because he listened and said, all right, well, shoot, you see something, you saying something.
Let's talk about that. Because this is what happens, Scotty. When people like you and I say, black folks, buy this property, get a will, get a trust in place. If you know your grandparents are getting ready to die or, you know, that time is going to eventually come, have ownership rights in place so that property won't get turned back over to the reverse mortgage company. That property won't get taken for taxes. And they say, no, I don't want to live over here. But then you have that same conversation with somebody who's not from the community, who's not black. And they're like, oh, really? Well, show me where it's at. And then they go up there and start buying it. Well, then it's like, we damned if we do, damned if we don't. Because if I don't help you do it, or if you don't do it, and then you look back on it, it's just like, oh, man. And then if somebody else do it, well, they gentrifying. Like, at what point in the game do we as people have to say, we can afford every fucking thing else? It's time to scale back on the bullshit and start buying our shit up.
Man, and it's funny you say that, man, because at one point, it costs more to go to the club, buy a section and a bottle than it did to buy land in South Dallas. And I'm not saying that just being facetious or funny or anything like that. I literally spent $1,000 on a lot. I flew to California, stayed in a hotel in a Marriott. I spent more money on the flight, my food, and my hotel for the weekend than I did on that piece of dirt. You can't find land in South Dallas right now for less than $35,000, $45,000.
And that's the land.
That's the land.
That's the land.
That's the land. And so when
you know how cheap it used to be back in the day? And all you had to do was buy it and cut the grass.
That's it. That's it. And so we got to get into the habit of, one, when there's a credible source in our community that says a thing, like, at least listen, at least dial in and say, okay, maybe he's on to something. When you start hearing something so many times, y'all, like, tap in. Like, damn, like, come on.
I'm gonna tell you what we do. We find the problem and the solution, and then we go to invalidation tactics.
Right. Yep.
Who the fuck is Scottie? He ain't even from here.
Type shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Type shit, yeah.
I ain't never heard of him.
Right.
What the fuck does that have to do with the fact that this dude has literally brought his business, brought his life, brought his family to this community, hired people from our community,
Exactly.
Invested time in the meetings, because you came to the meetings. You on them zoning commission
I was
meetings.
trying to figure it out. Like who going where they coming from?
And
you know,
and the excuse of saying, well, I don't know, you can't use that fucking excuse no more, because we know every fucking thing else. And it's like, well, Tim, come on, don't talk down. I'm not talking down. This is coming from a place of love. Because if I don't love you, I don't give a fuck what the fuck you doing. I'm gonna watch you crash and burn and be like, hey, that shit ain't on me. But if I really, really see a cycle of just, hey man, you're gonna look up and that opportunity will never come back on you, I'm gonna talk my shit. We let these rappers talk to us like we crazy. Tell us all kinds of shit.
Tell us what to buy, what to drink, where to go, and what's cool and what's not. But you got people in the community on the grounds and saying, hey, look, this is what you need to do. This is where we need to go. This is how we need to do it. But we looked out, they look at us like we, got something growing out our forehead or something.
You know why though? Because the solution that you and I offers requires a little bit of work.
Yeah.
It requires, I tell people, listen, within the past 2 years, I've lost $100,000 in business. You laughing because you know
I know.
you grabbed your stomach because you like, oh, we can have a whole podcast on how much money we done lost, right? In the last 2 years, I lost $100,000 in business. That's just in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But if I tell you what I made, it's just like, that's a part of the game. Like, you're going to take a L, but see what happens is people want to show up and just become successful. And this is a process. Talk about why it's so important to partake in the process, Scottie.
You gotta, the first thing for me is you enjoy it more at the end. Like that delayed gratification. Once you get, it's like, okay, well, shit. I waited 7 years. Now I can sell this lot for $75,000. Like, I'm cool with that. But a part of that is growing and speaking towards community and community development and those types of things. A part of that is growing an appreciation for the community. And I'll be honest.
I'm gonna make you park there for a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Growing an appreciation for the community is a real thing, man. I'll be honest. When I literally made the wrong turn, I was supposed to go left and then ended up turning right on Malcolm X. Ended up at Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. That intersection only happens 5 other times in the entire country. So I was immediately intrigued because I knew it was black people there. So when I made that turn, I'm be honest, I'm like, okay, black folks, I know I can get cheap property. I instantly went into investor mode. Like, okay, I can get this, I know. And I drove around and I say, yo, it's $1 billion to be made in South Dallas. $1 billion. So I immediately placed value in it. I saw the value. Whereas
everybody else was reducing. Everybody else is talking about what it's not worth.
Right. Exactly. And so when I saw value in the neighborhood, right? And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start doing this and this. But then I started talking to the people in the neighborhood and realized that there's a lot of pride. No matter how much money the city wasn't putting in there, no matter how shitty the sidewalks and the streets were, no matter how most of the goddamn street lights were shot out or not working, there was still a level of pride in the community. And I said, okay, it's a different perspective now. We can make a different shift. They need somebody who's committed to the community, who sees the value like they see it, but has the financial resources to again bring the love and the light that they need and that they want. And so that's why I came in. I'm like, okay, y'all, look, the community is not going to continue to grow if we keep doing super low income housing. That ain't gonna happen. Like,
and at what point in the game do we say we need to evolve from that? Like, I grew up for all intents and purposes in the hood.
Yeah.
Right. The end game is not to remain in the same position. Like when we grew up in Pleasant Grove, it was an up and coming area where middle class people live. And you and I both know there's no such thing. In the next 10 years, there's not going to be a middle class, right?
Exactly.
This was when you had people, your parents worked for the city or the government, or they had a good job at a factory or something like that. Mm-hmm. Everybody came home. We knew all of our neighbors. And it was like over a period of about 10 years, that shit started going down because it became areas where it was more important to develop. It was more important to make it affordable than it was to develop. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I get you 100%. And that's where we continue to lose, right? And
being stagnant.
Being stagnant.
But wait. But we subscribe to looking rich.
Man,
but see, if I said it out loud, if I said it out loud, then I'm a hoe ass nigga, right? We subscribe, and this is me, man. I grew up getting it how I live. I had to have the nice shoes. I had to have the system. I had to have the jewelry. I had to have this shit. And again, no pot to piss in, no window to throw it out of.
And we can have a whole nother podcast about that, right? And about keeping up with the Joneses, specifically we'll say keeping up with the Johnsons in the black community. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a real thing. Like, your Sunday's best. You gotta, the Sunday's best kind of matriculated into Monday through Friday. You gotta look a certain way. You gotta have the freshest this or so-and-so gonna talk about
I never looked at it that way.
It's, you know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother podcast episode that we can rewind on.
I never looked at it that way, but shit, you just opened up Pandora's box when you said that, because I think about how showing up to church of all places looking fly was the thing to do.
Bro, I went to Notre Dame and we had to go to mass on Sundays, right? That's the weirdest thing to me. First off, because one, black church is 3 hours. Mass is like an hour. You in time. You back at home for football and everything. But you go to mass at the Catholic church and I'm looking around at these people.
Blue jeans,
flip-flops. My mom would smack the shit out of me if I wore flip-flops to church. You know what I'm saying?
The white church and the black church experience are totally different, bro.
It's different, man. And that was one of the first times where I was like, huh, that's interesting. And it made me think about it. I'm like, damn, like.
Go to a white wedding. I went to a wedding recently with one of my partners, client, guy I've known for a while. He got married. Bro, the dog was in the wedding. The dog was in the wedding.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
I mean, blue jeans, cowboy boots. Like, nobody was dressed to the nine. I show up in a white, I had on my white linen,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like,
I feel
I'm overdressed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But,
and that's not to compare. Let make some really clear. We're not comparing ourselves to other races. We're making a contrast in a sense. Like, the way that we've been taught to do things for so long is not the way that wealth is built.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so kind of going back to what we were saying is, we do come from the perspective of shit. We gonna spend what we can to make ourselves look good. You know what I mean? And hell, I wear a uniform, man. You can catch me on any day of the week. I have a white Pair of Thieves t-shirt or a black one. When they start making the gray ones, I'm gonna get those too. And I wear them because they soft. And some jeans or some black pants. That's my uniform. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go get me some mics. I'm gonna go get me some nice shoes. But regardless, my get up is simple.
Bro, I wear the same shit. I literally have a bunch of Purpose on Demand t-shirts, hats. I'm to the point that where literally Facebook, you know how it reminds you what you was doing last year? I have the same shit.
Like,
I have the same fucking outfit.
Got that
goddamn, I wore that same outfit last year. Because you want me to tell you how I learned that? I'll never forget. When I came into real estate in 2004, my first broker, this dude was he did not dress up well.
Yeah.
He's just Rodney Dangerfield. Like,
oh yeah, I remember Rodney.
And I'll never forget. Just had that whole Rodney Dangerfield feel. The Hawaiian shirts, blue jeans. I'll never forget. I saw him in 2011 at the Cleaners, and I was dressed to the T's, to the nines, if you will, and I was in a brand new car. And when I met him, he had a 1998 Lexus. When I saw him again in 2011, he was in that same Lexus. Literally wearing one of those same shirts. getting his shit out the cleaners, and it was a bunch of the same shit.
Is it the same goddamn
And the first thing he said to me, Scotty, he says, "What up, man?" He said, "What's up, Tim? I see you have a new car."
I see you got the new car.
And this dude owned hundreds of properties in Dallas. And it was like, shit, I'm hustling backwards, bro. Like, who the fuck am I trying to impress? I literally, you know what it is. You know how we first got into real estate. You got to have a nice car. And then what happened? People don't even ride in your car no more.
Yeah. Meet me there. I see you there, bro. But yeah, you know, we got to come out of that and look nice. That's cool. Do what you do. But redirect some of that cash into buying property. Like, and it don't even got to be property where you live. Like, so I'm looking at other areas right now because the city of Dallas is on, you know, the shit done got crazy on the price and it just take too long to do any development. I'm looking at places like Wichita Falls, right?
Military, prison town, college town.
Exactly. Buying property. My first set of properties was just off MLK. Intentional about it, right? Bought those for extremely cheap. Now I know, just based off what I saw here in Dallas, I know that's gonna happen, and just sheer numbers.
Oh, you're not gonna walk away from that, because I think people are gonna miss that. You said just off of what you saw in Dallas, I know what's about to happen.
I know what's gonna happen.
Like, that's literally the experience of you learning what to do, what not to do, and then being able to spot the trend.
Yeah, exactly. Spotting the trend and saying, okay, look, we see this. And what I did with Dallas and why I love Dallas so much, even though I'm from Houston, is Dallas has been my teacher. It's been my professor. It's taught me a lot about development, urban development, real estate, all of that stuff that I've been able to apply in different areas. And so now I'm applying this into Wichita Falls. Now I got some stuff that I'm looking at in Louisville. Now their land bank is what City of Dallas land bank used to be.
Okay, so then we're going to have to talk offline.
Yeah.
I missed the boat on our land bank because I hadn't, at the time, flipped a house and had the development experience.
Yeah.
And then after they closed it down, that's when we started getting the experience. So you know how that went. You know, one person ran it.
And she, granted, the person who ran it, I love her. I know her personally.
No, I don't have any issues with her.
But she ran it like shit. And I had to just get in with her like, hey, yo, when you see these properties over here, send them to me first. Because it was first come, first serve. Like, when she sent the list out, it was at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
The day prior, you had to get your packet in to her. Whoever got the packet in first, that's who got those lots. She would send me the lots in South Dallas at about 7:30. Shit, by 9 o'clock, at 9:30, she got my packet.
She got your packet.
So, you know, that's Louisville. We got to get out there because they need, and again, it's black communities. If you look, like I said, if you look at life cycles of our communities, it's a 60-year life cycle, bro, across the board. And if we can catch these cycles when they're doing this, when they're coming up, we can become very wealthy. We can do well because we're going to inherently look after our people.
Absolutely.
You know, these are some things that I can't say online. I can say offline, but you know,
you don't have to explain it. And that's why people need to show up.
Right.
People have to show up. You must be present to win.
You got to be present to win.
Don't give them too much game. Yeah. And I'm going to be straight with you. Y'all want us to give y'all all this game, but you're not willing to show up and put the work in. Yeah. So you'll learn more about Scottie as you follow Scottie and see what he's doing. And then when you're ready to get that game, you'll get that game. Yeah. All right, so let's segue into a project that you're working on. If you've been living under a rock, you know, you probably haven't seen Scottie. He's been on most of the black publications that we know of, talking about this huge project that you have going on, Lake Noir. Yeah. Right? So tell us about Lake Noir.
Man, Lake Noir is cool. It's a
And let me say something really quick before I get into that. Shout out to my girl Ericka Williams.
Yeah.
Ericka Williams, I talk to her all the time. That's my dog. And she said she was talking to somebody about buying property. And she was like, where's Lake Noir at?
It's in Oakwood, not far from Fairfield. Yeah.
So she was telling people, like, she had a conversation with somebody. And Ericka, don't beat me up for if I misquote this, but essentially they were like, here are some areas where you need to start buying right now. Mm-hmm. And then she said she looked up 5-6 months later and you were announcing that project. She said, one thing about Scottie, he's got really good foresight. It's gonna sound like he's crazy. This is me paraphrasing this now when he's talking about it, but then it eventually always materializes. And it's the vision, it's the commitment to the actual vision that gets you over the hump, or that makes people say, damn, I wish I would have, so talk about that project, man.
Yeah, you know what? And shout out to Ericka for that. What's up, girl? Thank you for
Ericka the plug, man. Ericka the plug, man.
And she does drop gems all the time. And so with this project, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give people the opportunity to not have that damn I should have been in moment. Like, come on and get involved. So it's a 15-acre retreat, man, where I'm building 20 tiny cabins around the lake that we made along a creek that was out there, and it's the luxury tiny cabins I'm calling it. Pretty much they're luxury hotel rooms in the woods, and so people will be able to rent them out for a weekend getaway or a week-long getaway. Little tiny joints, about 500 square feet. But with the whole deal with mental health, giving people an affordable option to just duck off and kind of get back one with themselves, get back grounded. And so it's cool because we're doing, what I'm doing on this is a crowdfund. So I'm doing this crowdfund, allowing for Black investors from around the country to invest in this deal and be a part of the profitability of the project. So it's cool because with affordable housing, and you know this, man, it's a brain exercise. You'll get beat up from the city. You'll get beat up from the community.
I think affordable housing is a myth too.
Right.
We could do a whole show on that too. That's the biggest oxymoron in real estate.
Exactly, man. And that's, you get beat up and it's such a brain beat. This year I was like, look, let me just take a pause. Let me do something fun. So that's where this whole deal came from. It's still a cool, affordable option because everything else is double what we'll be charging per night. But we'll be able to tap in. Black folks will be able to be a part of it. Black vendors. So we're trying to go black, man. Everything from our architect on down to our linen providers will be Black-owned business. Now, granted, just because it's Black-owned and Black service doesn't mean it's for Blacks.
Black-owned doesn't mean Black-owned.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think a lot of people need to understand that. Like, if we just keeping it a buck,
exactly.
when other developers build stuff, they don't include Black banks. They don't include Black contractors.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to find a Black person to cut my yard within the last month has literally been the hardest fucking thing I've had to do all year, right? So let's just keep it a buck, right? So we don't have to be ashamed to say that we're creating opportunities for people who look like us while opening up the opportunity or the ability to enjoy what we're doing to everyone. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
At all. And I think that if you feel some kind of way about that as a person, that you're part of the problem, not the solution.
Yeah,
like Black people, we need to have an economy amongst ourselves so that we can put more back into not only our own economy but the total economy.
Yeah, exactly. So that deal, man, it's super dope. We started construction this year. We got our first 2 cabins up. We'll be done by Q1 of next year, 2023, and we'll start renting around that time, man. So it's gonna be a dope deal. Retreat at Lake Noir is what it's called. So lakenoir.com, y'all come check it out, and once the booking stuff y'all do y'all thing, man.
Okay.
Book that thing.
Book it. So listen, we got Scottie, developer, Scottie, the author, Scottie, the real estate investor, Scottie, the broker. Scottie has provided opportunities of employment to people.
Yeah.
What else is on the horizon for Scottie? New father. We had a kid around the same time.
Yeah. This is my third one. Scottie,
pull out game week. No, I'm messing with you, bro.
What do you say? I don't pull out. I'm a pull out game now. We got your don't pull out.
Somebody asked me at the end of an interview, so what's the best advice you give me? I said, pull out. And I just said, I'm joking, man. Kids are the best joy in the world. But, you got a lot going on, man. Like, what else is on the horizon? Like, is there something else that you preparing for? Is it something you taking a break from? Like, what the future look like for Scottie within the next 3 to 6 months?
3 to 6 months. So here's the deal. I have a 2-year run. I've talked to my kids. Sat them down. I said, hey, look, I need y'all to give me 2 years. I got this 2-year run. I have about 150 to 200 units in my pipeline that I'm working to get finished. said, I need these 2 years. Dad's going to be working really hard. I'm also working on my PhD. So these 2 years are going to be crucial.
That's dope, man.
Now, what happens after these 2 years, we can do whatever y'all want.
Yeah.
But I just need these 2. And so, and a part of that, you know, kind of some political aspiration. Ultimately, man, my end goal with this whole thing is to be the U.S. HUD secretary.
That's dope, man.
And so by the time
Speak that shit, man.
Yeah, so but by the time I get to that point, if we haven't, as black people, gotten reparations, I'm going to use that position to be able to do that.
We definitely need our money.
Yeah, we need that. We need that.
And not in the form of college.
Right, yeah.
Not in the form of debt relief.
Nah, we need that.
Run me that check. I need that cash,
check,
man.
Nah,
and I'm not going to step away from that. I firmly believe that I don't want any earmarks.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing but a check, bro. Run me that cash. Let me take that bread and let me do what I need to do with it, right?
Need that. Nah, straight up. And that's the goal, man. If they haven't figured it out by then, I'm going to use my position as a U.S. HUD secretary to offer a solution using housing and housing products. So HUD has a lot of land. We can probably get our 40 acres and some, you know.
It's so much. I don't think people understand how much land is unoccupied. I mean, literally just drive outside of your major city.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll never forget when I went to New York City for the first time. When I was a corporate trainer. I had to go do a training in a place called Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Allentown, yeah.
So I flew into Philly. Now, Philly is Philly. It's a city.
It's a city.
You get outside them city limits, it looked just like any part of East Texas you've ever been to. And then from there, I drove up to New York City. And I was like, outside of the city, this is just land. It's just a bunch of land, bro.
It's a bunch of land.
That a few families own, maybe the government owns, but it's just like, how do we tap into that land? Because
the government owns so much of that. And, you know, at some point they got to distribute that somewhere.
They got to, man. And I would love to be in line to get some of that land.
Stand in line with your boy, man.
Hey.
I'm going to take care of you.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, y'all heard that, right? You heard your boy. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I want to talk about this culture one last time before we get up out of here. As we're recording this, we got the news this morning that another rapper was murdered. Offset from the Migos got murdered today. And you know what? Murder is going to always be a tragedy. I'll never, ever mock, the death of anyone. I'll never, ever talk down on people in the event they lose their life. But we have to address this culture. Yeah, and that's what this platform is for. It's addressing the economic aspects of it, but also the parts of our culture that is killing us. Man. Literally, no pun intended. And, all the I don't like this to be like a chatty patty type shit, but the fact that, he got killed allegedly at a dice game. That's the second dice game in the last month where somebody of notoriety got killed. At what point do we eventually call out this culture for being what it is? And that's a cesspool of destruction, bro.
We got to call it. We got to keep calling it out, man. And the reality is you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And so we got to continue to ingrain in our youth that this shit ain't cool. Like, this ain't the path. Like, this ain't what we want y'all to do. At the end of the day, man, especially what I'm seeing here in Dallas, we're killing our youth. These are our leaders. These are our future leaders. When we old and decrepit, we gonna be looking to these young black brothers and sisters to lead us to a better country, whatever the case may be. And we can't have that if our youth are continually getting offed by
each other.
So that's crazy. And
it's glorified.
It's glorified.
Literally. And we gotta listen. We can't blame white folks for this, bro.
Nah, we can't.
Yeah. I'm gonna piss somebody off, but I can't blame a white person for this. Like at some point in the game, a Scottie Smith or a Tim Jackson or other people just like us who are actually in our communities and we give a fuck has to rise above some of these bitch ass niggas that come into the community, take away from the community, promote destruction, kill off our men, brutalize, the communities and tear it up. But then we hold these niggas on a pedestal like they some fucking OG that's somebody to be heralded. Like, fuck them niggas, man. Like, and I'm gonna say it. I'll say it. You don't have to say it. You know, Scottie got political aspirations, so he probably ain't gonna go that far with it. We don't want this shit to surface 10 years now. 10 years. U.S. Secretary was on the podcast, but seriously though, like I'm on the record. Like, fuck them. Like, why are we giving these guys so much power when they don't do anything to promote positivity or even ownership within our communities?
And here's the deal. It goes back to Peacock Syndrome, Black Church, Sunday's Best. These gentlemen are showing them the glitz and the glamour. And so the glitz and the glamour is attractive to them, right?
It is. It was attractive to me.
Right. It's attractive to me as well.
Yeah.
But we have to make certain, as I think, that we're more of an influence, or we need to be more of an influence than these gentlemen are. And we got to make certain that we're showing up, we showing out. And real life, you posted something a while back that said, you know, when somebody claimed their hood, ask them how much real estate they own in the neighborhood. Bruh. And I thought that was so dynamic because it brought me back to a situation when I first came to South Dallas and I was presenting to the community about what my plans were. Like, hey, look, this is what I would like to do. I own all of this stuff. I really don't have to talk to you about it. I got the zoning. I'm just showing y'all what I'm about to bring to the community. Anyway, one person came to me and was like, you know, I'm the mayor of South Dallas. I was like, oh, okay, where you own your house at? And I wasn't even trying to be.
You weren't even trying to be funny.
Trying to be funny.
He's being logical.
Right. He was like, oh yeah, I rent over here. I'm like, I said, how you the mayor? As a matter of fact, come by one of my houses, then you can talk about that. And I wasn't trying to be coy, I wasn't trying to be funny, but he kind of looked at me crazy, and I'm like, hey, you said you're the mayor of an area that you don't even own, bro. Like, I'm from Houston, and I own more stuff here than you do. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And it's not even, I'm not even trying to flex or anything. I'm like, bro, the lots.
It's not a flex. It's the
lots
truth.
that I bought has 6 feet of trash on it, bro. Like.
But you own this shit, right? But see, listen, Scottie, if we say that out loud, we're talking down on our people. No. If we say that out loud, we hating, but it's perfectly fine for a nigga to get on a microphone with a nice beat and tell me to get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kill niggas. And then when the entertainers get killed, I'm getting a shirt made, matter of fact, tomorrow. It's being designed as we speak that has every rapper that's died this year, and it's going to have the most recent rapper that died, and there's going to be a question mark that says who's next. And that's what I'm going to wear when I go speak at schools. That's what I'm going to wear when I do my content, because at some point in the game, we're going to have to acknowledge that no one deserves to die for their artistic expression.
Right.
But at the same time, if your artistic expression is about dying,
destruction,
then what do you expect? I should be able to ask that question without you talking down on me, calling me a bitch ass nigga, calling me a hoe ass nigga. But then when they die, y'all niggas run to the internet, rest in peace. Oh, my favorite one. How did this happen? Nigga, you know how it happened.
You know how it happened.
You know what I'm saying? And I got my hood tatted on me. I own property in my hood.
Right.
I can speak on this shit.
It's a sad reality, man, and it's a sad cycle. And no, we can't blame the white folks for what is being said and done, but the record labels and the owners of those record labels do glorify because they put the millions of dollars behind
they reward it.
They really do. And you have rappers who are speaking positive, speaking light and love into black people, and you'll never see any of their stuff
Never
surface.
say shit.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the weirdest thing to me. You got people like, you know, there's a cat out of Mississippi, you know, Silas. I think he's one of the dopest rappers in the South out right now. But I don't see him getting pushed heavily. You know what I'm saying? I don't see him getting, I mean, shit, he got a damn song right now called, I Love Me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm about to check that out.
And he got another song like, I ain't stressing. Like, no stress. I ain't stressing today. Like, those are types of songs, bro. Like, damn, it preaches self-love. It talks about mental health. Like, and Brother got bars. He kind of puts you in a sense of like a Big Crit or something like that. Mm-hmm. Brother got bars. But in the music, man, if it's not talking destruction, then it's not getting the millions behind it.
We consume it. And that's my only thing, bro. Like, let's not get it twisted, man. I always tell people my life was a Jeezy album. Between 2000 and 2005, right? Like, like seriously, like it was what it was, right? But what happened was I eventually realized that this ain't the end game. I'll never forget when I moved back to Dallas. Me and my partner, I don't know how long you've been here. It was a club called Club Blue.
I remember Club Blue.
You remember Club Blue?
Yeah.
So we go to Club Blue.
Chilling at Club Blue, doing what thugs do.
You know what I'm saying? So we went, I picked my partner up, and we were just kind of parking lot pimping. It was like late. It was like, man, let's just roll by and see what's popping. We get up to the club. One of our homeboys, a couple of our homeboys is running out the club. Now, as we driving around, it's a dude in this Crown Vic, like looking at my car, kind of ice grilling us. I'm like, I asked my boy, you know this dude? He's like, no. We get around to the backside of the club by the parking lot. Our partners run out. My homeboy lean out the window. What's up with it, old hoe ass nigga? What y'all niggas in there doing? He's like, man, we just got through fighting. As soon as he said that car pulled up in front of my car, blocked my car off, pulled out a pistol and just started busting at my partners. He couldn't shoot worth a damn. So he missed him. But as he shoot, he turned, pointed towards me, and his gun jammed up.
Yeah.
And then they sped off. And I looked at my homeboy, I said, I'm good. Like, I'm tired of going out and getting shot at.
Yeah.
I done had my car shot up. I'm tired of that shit, my nigga. At some point in the game, we got to stop. And so, and I'm going to segue and I'm going to give it back to you. When I wrote my book, Real Dope, this same partner, like he sat down with me and we went over some shit. I did an internship, if you will. Mm-hmm. And after everything was over and said and done, I said, bro, you really good at selling dope. Man, I could literally show you how to clean your money up the right way, put you in a position where you can make legal money renting out properties, because there's people who are actually doing this the right way. He said, Tim, I love you. He said, but that shit ain't for me. I sell dope and I pimp hoes and I'm real good at it. That was that nigga response.
That was a conversation.
And book came out. He got locked up. But people who were in prison was getting my books. People that was in the streets were getting my books. And they start calling me like, yo, I want to get out the game. So at some point, you got to say, I want to get out this motherfucking game.
That's true.
And you have to commit yourself to never going back to it, never glorifying, never bringing up the good old days. I don't give a fuck about who Tim used to be.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I don't even talk about shit that we used to do.
Yeah.
Because if I have to tell people who I used to be to get their respect, I don't want their respect.
I don't want that. Yeah.
I don't want that shit, bro.
Sheesh,
you see the change? Do you see a change? Or do you think that this time next week we'll be texting each other another rapper died?
Man, this year has been tragic and traumatic almost, to a sense of we are losing so many artists, and it's weird. It's at a rate that I've never seen in my lifetime. Like,
all of our bro,
it's the weirdest thing. So my hope is that it changes. There needs to be, at some point, somebody in the industry need to call a fucking meeting or something and say, hey, listen.
Why? But it hasn't happened.
Somebody need to do it.
It never will happen, bro. Let me tell you why. Because they still gonna get on the road and go perform them same fucking songs that's talking about get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kidding. That's why when I see a rapper turn into an activist, the first thing I want to know is he still performing, or is she still performing their old music?
Their old music. Yeah.
And if they are, fuck them. Like, seriously, man, like, you can't serve two masters, man. You're going to love one and hate the other, right?
Hate the other.
But if we say that out loud, Scotty, if Tim and Scotty say that, because you don't bite your tongue when it comes to this bullshit ass culture either.
I don't, because I got kids. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, I don't want my kids to grow up and thinking that is
normal.
Right. That shit is abnormal as fuck. Like, we should be able, like, our black men and our black women should be able to, one, come home, but they should be able to grow old too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
21 is the new 61, bro.
Like, we should be able to grow old, man. And, I be telling my kids, like, yo, I want to see your grandkids. I want to be around to see your grandkids, which would be my great grandkids. Like, you know what I mean? And we have to make living cool again. You know what I'm saying?
That's gonna be on the motherfucking marquee. Like when you see the promo, we gotta make living cool again.
Make living cool again, bro. Like living, man. And I mean, not just existing and surviving, like living, bro. Like, what are you living for? Like, is it your kids? Is it your family? Is it your community? Not what are you dying for? Like, people be like, I die for this. Nah, fuck that. What are you living for? And that's where I'm at with it. Like, we got to make living cool again, bro.
Shit.
That's where I'm at with it. It's just, you know, I just want my kids, bro, to be able to grow old, and I want them to be able to raise their kids and watch them grow old. That's what I want for all of us. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want.
It's crazy when you think about it, how no one talks about that anymore. I remember a time where we expected to see our family members on certain days. We expected to have certain types of encounters with our people. And now it's just like the only time we see our people is when somebody's dead, or the only time we have a conversation of value is when somebody gets killed. And then in between, there's no building.
Right.
But if you say that shit out loud, Scotty, people don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And they'll attack you and me for attempting to create a viable solution where everyone wins before they attack the person who has no desire whatsoever to see them live.
Man, why is that? That's such a weird thing, man. And I've noticed that more often than not.
I always tell people, if you ever want to scam somebody black, one, show up in a nice car, but two, promise them a lifestyle that is amazing to have that they don't have to work for. And, you know, when I had my credit business, I was charging people like $100 to teach them how to build, restore, maintain, and fix their credit. And they was like, this must be a scam. They would go and pay the $2,000 from the actual scammers. And then come back to me and say, well, hey, can you help me? Because they took my money. No, man. You know how I am.
I need that $2,000.
I need that $2,000.
You know what I'm saying? I'll take that
But
too.
it's like, we constantly say, somebody need to come and help us. And then when we come to help, y'all push us away. Because y'all want us to be howdy, patting you on the ass, making you feel good about the fuck shit that you're doing. But then when the person that's actually like, don't give a fuck about you, you boost them up on a pedestal and they talk to you. These motherfuckers wouldn't piss on you if you was on fire. I know, I don't work with these niggas. Yeah. I've been on TMZ with clients. Right. I paid for rappers to do business with them. These niggas don't fuck with y'all like that.
No, they don't.
But you have a Scotty, you have a Tim who literally have businesses in the middle of your hood with an open door policy for you to show up and learn this game, and y'all push us away. And then they wonder, Scotty, why a lot of people just move away and never come back. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, there's only so much of that we can bear. Like, you know.
Hey, niggas finna be on their Uncle Elroy shit.
Yeah, straight up. Like, hey, what'd he say?
I love the hood.
Right.
He said, I love it. As soon as I got my money, I was gone. But you know the funny thing about that, Scotty, is as soon as we got our money, we came back.
Yeah, and that's I tell people all the time, I could have lived anywhere in the fucking city of Dallas, bro. Anywhere, I specifically chose South Dallas. One, because I saw the value. But I saw the pride in the people.
Pride, bro.
That's a huge thing. Like, people had pride about the community. It's just that they didn't have the voice, really, or the financial backing to really get people to come and do what the fuck they need to do.
I blame that on us as a community allowing preachers to speak for us.
Man.
That's another podcast.
I
grew up in church. Y'all, I grew up in church. I might be a dummy, but I ain't no fool. I grew up in church. I helped run churches from the smallest church to the big church. You know, when I was younger, you know, I understand why the church was such a benefit to black people, because it was the only place where black people could have a voice. I'm not that nigga. All right. Man. With that being said, the evolution of us knowing business, knowing money, knowing how to own our communities is not taught in church.
No, it's not taught in church.
And it's going to be somebody to comment, at my church, we got a bank. I ain't talking about your church, nigga. I'm talking about them 15,000 other churches where you drive down the street and there's 4 churches on the same block. You know what I'm saying?
From my balcony in my house, I can literally see, just from my balcony, I can literally see 8 churches. I see 8
These aren't mega churches though.
No.
Right.
Just churches.
I'm willing to bet that half of them are the same denomination.
They all are.
Okay.
They all are. Every last one of them.
Yeah. But if
8 churches. All that to say, when you got such a heavy saturation
of anything,
of churches specifically, black churches, it's easy to exploit.
It is.
The leaders, which is one of the reasons why, if you look at the civil rights and the history of civil rights, you don't see Dallas anywhere in there.
Oh, we can talk about that. Oh man,
there's no Dallas anywhere. I mean, you see JFK get popped because he was about to, but ain't no real big civil rights situations here in Dallas.
We're an interesting city, bro. Dallas ain't a black city for one.
That's another. You started with that.
I started with that when we first started. My mic wasn't working, but Dallas is not a black city. It's funny when people come here. You're an out of towner as well, so you see it too when you come here. When people come here from out of town, and I work with a lot of California investors, they come in. The first thing they say to me is, "Damn, the black people are different here." And I'm like, "What you mean?" I used to say, "What you mean?" Because I'm here. What are you talking about? But I have to remember, I was in the military. I've traveled. I've moved around. I was a corporate trainer. I've been everywhere. So I tend to be more adaptable. Yeah. But as I'm starting to pay attention, I'm like, damn, we are a little bit different here. Like I have to remind people, Juneteenth started here. And that's symbolic and it's also mental. We're still so far behind on so many things when it comes to money. And from a political standpoint, I look at Houston. I'm like, Houston is a black city. Like Houston has a strong community of black people of all different backgrounds, right?
Exactly.
We don't have that here in Dallas. We have those handful of people that, I don't want to open up Pandora's box. Y'all, that's a whole.
We got to do a part 2.
We got to do a part 2.
But you're right.
But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. It's a handful of people that speak for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's midterms right now. Nobody's out doing anything. Whenever people ask me who I'm voting for, the first thing I ask them is who they donate to. We don't even understand lobbying. Dallas is not a city about lobbying. It's a city where when it's election time, the preachers allow people to come in and just tell you to vote for them, and there's no tangibles. We just vote. We're loyal to the vote, and we're not loyal to the action. But that's another. I don't want to do the politics shit, but I'm sitting here with a guy who gets it, so it's always interesting to have these conversations. We'll have to do that on another episode. Scottie,
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Where can they find you at, my dude?
Hey, man, find me on Instagram at Scottie L. Smith. Scottie has an I-E, not a Y. Scottie L. Smith. Facebook, Scottie Smith. And I guess I'll start doing Twitter again, Mr. Scottie L. Smith there. So
I ain't been on it. I got on Twitter for I created an account, never used it, and then I got on it for like 2 months and I hated it, bro. Yeah, it's just
so much. It's so much.
It's a place where people just come to shit on you. Yeah. There's no positivity. Like everything is fuck you, nigga. You wake up and be like, man, it's such a beautiful day. Man, fuck your day. Like,
enjoying your day ass. Positive affirmation.
Who this nigga think he is, right?
Bob Ross.
I got on there for about 2 months and I was like, I'll beat your ass in real life. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you and Scott, and listen, y'all look at Scottie. Scotty's a very polished, clean guy. Scottie walks into the room. He looks like he's somebody. Scottie will beat your ass in real life.
In real life, though.
In real life. Scottie will beat your ass, right? And so that's probably why I like Scottie. But
man,
I'm finding myself like getting away from the spaces where people aren't creating change. They're just not creating change whatsoever. And I found myself on Twitter saying, well, what specifically have you done? And it's like, don't worry about what the fuck I've done. Well, that's because you ain't did shit, but get on here. Tweeting about something is not change.
Right.
It's just not change. But y'all, listen, Scottie, bro, thank you so much for coming.
Appreciate you.
We're going to have to wrap it up. My allergies are killing me right now. I haven't slept much. I want to thank you so much for just stopping by. Scottie Smith, follow him on social media. Get involved with what he's doing. Scottie's eliminating excuses in his community. He's eliminating excuses nationwide. We have to start having conversations with more people like Scottie with more people like me, with more people like the Hartzogs, with more people like the Ericka Williams of the game, the people that have come on the show, because y'all who watch this, we are what I like to call the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
We get it. We understand it. We got to do it by ourselves. We got to create something, because the average person is a follower. We're not followers. We're not afraid to say that's bullshit. We're not afraid to piss people off, because at the end of the day, we're going to show up and do the work. And that's why I brought Scottie on the show. So guys, like, subscribe, follow, share, endorse, tag people. Get involved with people like us so that we can start creating the change that we need, separating ourselves from the culture and creating a life worth living, and a place where our children's will be proud to come. That's all I got for you guys today. This is No More OGs podcast. I'll see you soon.